Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. It's Naturally Mar. Today I'm going to be reviewing Put a Ring on It Season 2, Episode 5. Before we start, you all know what to do. Like the video, also subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you can get instant alerts when I drop a video. Right, so we start back at, of course, Alexia had walked out of the session and Dr. Nicole's in the room with the other two couples, LaRonda and Sean and Eric and Jessica. And they're slightly talking about how they felt about Alexia walking out. Now, they also show Alexia saying that Darian is selfish. She's not there to work on their relationship. They both come back in. And, Alexia saying that, Darian's actions speak louder than his words. And Dr. Nicole basically says, that Darian needs to work through his own choices. He has choices to make through this process, and she has to be able to let him do that, and also manage her feelings at the same time. LaRonda and Eric are the only ones not going out on a date this week. Alexia says that after her conversation with Dr. Nicole, she realizes that she's really pissed. Alexia, I said it before, girl. You need to run in the opposite direction of Darian. As Sean and LaRonda are talking, we learn that Sean has never been faithful in his relationships. LaRonda is the first relationship he's actually been faithful in. And LaRonda seems to be worried about his third date. Now we see Darian and Alexia having a conversation. Darian claims that he wants to apologize for his behavior from the day before. But even though he wants to apologize, he also expects Alexia to apologize. Darian, excuse me? It doesn't work that way. If you're going to apologize, you're going to apologize for your behavior. You shouldn't be expecting an apology back. Alexia then goes out on her date. Her date is Monty. They seem to have, a very playful date. They play a game of basketball and also have a little meal. And we learn that Monty is divorced and he has a daughter. And Alexia was actually quite surprising. She didn't want to talk about Darian at all during this date. And they seem to have a good conversation and she seemed to enjoy her time. Hopefully she can enjoy more of these dates now. We see Jessica go on her date with Sean, and it's at a tequila bar, I believe. Jessica has no problem knocking back her shot while Sean is there trying to sip on his. Now we learn that Sean is in, let me check my notes. He is in luxury real estate, and that he's big on vibes and personality. He's saying a lot of things that Jessica wants to hear. We also learn that he has 2 daughters. And interestingly enough, we also learn that Jessica herself has 2 daughters. She has a 12-year-old and an 8-year-old. How come we're just now hearing that they have that she has any kids? We've never heard her or Eric speak about children. So next we see Darian have a meeting with Dr. Nicole. He wants to talk about the issues with Alexia and how to make peace within their household. And basically he wants to know what are the ways he can communicate and get through her tough exterior. And, Dr. Nicole is trying to get him to look at some of his behaviors, which might help to her walls being up. And in terms of how he can get through that tough exterior is to be honest about what is going on. So Sean is out on his date with Brittany. They seem to be really connecting. And, she asks him, well, why am I on a third date with you? And if he could actually see them together in the future. So he didn't answer the question. He says that, his answer would be disrespectful. Okay, Sean. All right, so now we get to Jessica and Nicole. They actually have a meeting with Dr. Nicole also. Eric feels that he still has a lot of questions that aren't being answered. and says that about a year ago they had a little breakup, and Jessica felt that he was actually taking out the fact that he wasn't in football anymore out on her. And then she, started to entertain other athletes. It was like about a week they were broken up for, and she had already started entertaining other people. Um, Dr. Nicole was, telling them that the longer they stay with in this not trusting each other, they won't be able to move forward. Oh boy, so we get to Kai and Darian. This is their fourth date. Now, Kai says she likes him, but she doesn't want to be playing second fiddle. And Darian gives Darian an ultimatum, basically. And of course, Darian says that he doesn't do well with pressure. So we'll see if he goes out on another date with her, because she basically is telling him that I am not the help. Well, in this situation, you kind of are considered quote unquote the help, because he's supposed to be going on these dates to work out whether he's going to stay with Alexia or whether this process is going to help him move on to something else. So all the couples meet back with Dr. Nicole. Sean speaks about his date with Brittany. He says that he was very impressed because she missed her bus so that she can go on a date with him, and then drove herself to Florida. Now, he said he almost went to the show because he felt bad that she arranged her plans so that they can go out on their date. Now, Rhonda wasn't too pleased with this. She said she felt somewhat disrespected, feels that he loves to support everyone, and then their relationship suffers because there's no attention put on their own relationship. I think it was, I'm not sure if it was Dr. Nicole who said it or Sean said it, like when you don't have, or no, it must have been Dr. Nicole said, when you don't have good boundaries, then problems will start to happen. And Sean says no to a fourth date with Brittany. Now, Alexia says that she did enjoy her date with Monty, found him very articulate, and says yes to a second date. Darian says he has no problem with her going on a second date. His body language kind of said otherwise, but of course, he has to put on a front. Now, Jessica says that her and Sean seem to have a lot in common, and during their date, she actually felt very comfortable. Eric says that he is okay with it, but he doesn't seem as cool as he's trying to play either. Now, Darian goes to talk about his date with Kai. He says that he thinks that Kai is catching feelings, and he chose not to go out on a fifth date with Kai because he got an ultimatum from her. Not because of what Alexia said, but I guess because him and Alexia had a talk, and Alexia, of course, doesn't really want him to be seeing Kai again. But you didn't go out with Kai because Kai gave you an ultimatum, and you said you don't deal well with pressure. So you don't like when people are putting you in a position to make a choice. Now, Dr. Nicole said that Alexia is trying to control the situation. And if you want to have a meaningful relationship, you can't use some of the same patterns to get out of a situation. Now, she said that his next date will be with Alexia. So Darren and Alexia are supposed to go on a date, and Alexia said no. Well, I don't blame Alexia at all for not wanting to go out on a date with Darian after all the foolishness that she's going through right now. No, we're not going on a date. And she's pissed at the moment too, so I could see why she would have said no. This is where the episode ends, and we'll see what happens next week with all the couples. That's it for my video. Thank you for watching. See you next time.